What's going on, everybody? This is going to be take 2 of episode 3 of the 7th Column Radio podcast, and we got some stories for y'all.
Boy.
When we started recording this, the very first night, this one's on me, I was so excited to start recording this podcast, I forgot to push the most important button when recording, record. So for about the first 20 minutes of the podcast, we were talking, and it was not being recorded at all. That's literally how it went, wasn't it, Fates?
Yeah, that was. I'm of the opinion now. At least we're getting all the technical mishaps out of the way early.
Right. Second one, I was sick, and I tried to edit the second podcast, and it got uploaded first to the wrong channel. It got uploaded to my personal YouTube instead of the 7th Column podcast. Second, it got uploaded to once it got uploaded to the right one, it was uploaded without the intro and without the clip of the week inserted. And then finally on the third upload on that one, it was great. This one, we're recording it the day after we tried yesterday, and the first try ended up making it where the slobs decided to be freaky and corrupt the file, but it corrupted it and split it at the same time. So I had 8 minutes of good footage, and then the other 42 minutes of the podcast kaput. So, but enough of us whining. I'm Timbercat, host of 7th Column Radio. I'm here with my co-host,
Fates Pyro, the other wonderful host and resident hunter.
Resident hunter. He's feeling really happy now that he's seeing the Titans going to be sniped out of supers come next season. He's excited for it.
It's game on.
It's game on. Nice. I feel it. So, have you been working on the mountaintop? Is it the season's ending?
I have. I've been not super aggressive for it. I've been rocking a colony. Kind of cheesy, I know, but
gotta get it, man.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm not rocking like any other. Like, I'm not running dual GLs or anything like that. You know.
So you're not going the full three launcher and just going all out, going for it.
Yeah, I'm not straight. I'm not being toxic.
Nice. I'm taking a pass on it this season. I'm close, but I honestly don't have the time for it right now.
Yeah. So
I'm not really trying for it. Next season, when I try and grind for the next pinnacle, I'm definitely going to give it a shot. The Mountaintop's a good gun. It's just I don't really like launchers. I have not had a good one for my heavy slot. I have a play of the game with rangefinder quick draw that I like. That one got decent blast radius, and it kind of goes straight like a rocket launcher, so that's nice. As far as that goes, what have you been using, Fates?
I was using, other than the colony, I got a game, an Edge Transit.
Nice.
Which, I mean, it has decent stats and perks. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But my problem with it was I was playing comp the other day, and I pull heavy, dude slides at me, so I go to GL him, because I want the mountaintop. And he slid under the shot. But the shot was still next to him, so it exploded next to him, and he took no damage. So I don't know why the blast radius on that is, I shouldn't say is, but isn't correct.
I mentioned that in one of the first episodes that I feel like grenade launchers are really unpredictable as far as the hit detection is. Like, sometimes they'll be right next to them and it won't give you the kill. Same thing with the spike launchers. Sometimes a direct hit to the body will be a kill. Other times it just breaks the shield and does some health damage, but that's it. It's just it's tough out here. Well, last week we took a break. We didn't have an episode, partly because I was still sick, partly because we were kind of banking that 12 was going to have a little more PvP info, and It did it. It had a lot of gun damage. I will give it that, but we noticed that it did have it was very specific that it said in PvE. There wasn't any information as far as PvP goes. What'd you think of that, Fates?
I mean, it did have a little bit, but not much. So the hand cannon change to 140s and 150s, animation wise, is pretty cool.
That's a big plus.
I definitely did feel the difference when switching from my service revolver to the Lunar's Howl, which, by the way, I'm a proud owner of now.
Oh, look at him.
Yeah. Yeah. I did feel a little bit difference. I mean, obviously going from 180 to 150 is going to play a part in that, but I did feel it was a little something was off. I wasn't quite sure what it was. This now makes sense. I like that change. On the topic of hand cannons, the Crimson buff across the board, since it's going to affect PvP, really cool looking. I like that gun originally.
It just looks cool. Like, even if I'm not even a hand cannon user, and I like the look of it just because it looks just beastly.
Oh yeah, it's mini Red Death for me. I love the Red Death in D1, so
it was good.
Nice
I used it when the main time I really used it was when I was trying to get the hand cannon gills for Ace of Spades, which is also going to be taking a hit. They mentioned it that the Ace of Spades, the Memento Mori rounds are now going to be affected by damage fall off. I didn't know they didn't have damage fall off, truthfully. But again, I don't use hand cannon, so.
Yeah. I thought it was a feature.
It's not a bug.
Not a bug. It's a feature. Yeah. So I mean, I guess it makes sense to change it.
Yeah.
I think it's a reasonable change, and I know some of our PC guys should be rejoicing, since
I say keep it but fix it. Like, make it where I have to get a triple kill, and then then the Memento Mori rounds don't get affected by fall off. I mean, as it is, didn't they change it where when you swap weapons, the Memento Mori rounds fall out? Basically,
I think so. Yes, I believe you're correct. I
mean,
haven't used the
that'd be even better. Like, make it where you get the triple kill, you still don't have the damage fall off, and then if you forget and you swap weapons, you no longer have that carrying around in your pocket. I think that'd be. I
definitely think. Yeah, I definitely think that would be a good change. If they were to say, okay, well, nobody's now using the ace. We went too far. I think that would be a good compromise. Especially since the ace kicks like a mule and is almost. I mean, like, if you're using the ace on console, congratulations. I don't like that gun on console at all.
I played with it on PC, and I can see why the draw. Like, on PC, it's good.
Yeah.
For everybody that doesn't know, I do play on Xbox. But with cross save, I do play with some PvP on PC every once in a while. I am not gonna do my competitive there because, oh my gosh, y'all are sweaty as hell. The big elephant in the room regarding information, though, trials rumors.
Oh yeah. So we got well, first off, I'm going to take a nice little lap here. I called it.
And
I said that
he's not joking. He literally called it before, as we were waiting and talking about the podcast and whatnot leading up to it. He said that it's going to be slim for this season, but he sees trials coming back in 2020, the next season. So skipping this season and this season, and it'd be the season after Undying. And he literally called it.
Yep. I mean, the whole, all right, well, we're going to put Illumination in Crucible Labs and see how it plays out with the new Armor 2.0 and the guns and stuff like that. Really very telling, in my opinion. And then they came out and basically said, well, if there's not anything that you want in season 9, right? Yeah. Season 10 might have something for you. I feel like I'm getting season numbers wrong here, but
you might be. But the gist, if I remember the quote, it was basically, from here on out, everything's going to be a la carte. You don't want to purchase a season because it doesn't have anything PvP. You can totally skip it. Come the season after, though, if there's something that's coming back for PvP that you have to come back for, you can purchase that season separately and not miss out. And the only thing that's left as far as PvP is concerned has been trials.
Yeah. Big elephant in the room, their big draw on Twitch. I mean, I know comp people do well, but trials was what made the directory. That and raids and world.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I mean, straight basic PvP can only get you so far. You have to have some kind of competitive element to draw people in. Because, I mean, if there was no, I mean, think of it like in terms of sports. If there was nothing big going on at the end of a football season, you're just watching some guys play football. Like, there's no trophy at the, if there was no trophy at the end, no big reward, a lot of people wouldn't watch it as much.
Oh yeah, yeah. You want the 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 carrot on the stick, so
exactly. So that being said, before we get into a lot of the meat and potatoes of what we're wanting to talk about, here's our clip of the week. This was submitted to us through our Discord. If y'all want y'all's clip submitted, be sure to join the Discord. The link is down below. There's a channel to submit your clips. Submit them, whether you think they're amazing or not. Y'all might have y'all's picked. This one was one of our favorites. Here we go.
Zone C lost. You have the advantage. Press on. Zone A captured. Zone advantage is yours.
There y'all have it, folks. There's our clip of the week, submitted by y'all. You can submit it through the Discord. Again, if y'all want to catch us on Twitter, you can also submit clips there. Discord is preferred. It's because it's easier for us to pull the clip. But submit them. Y'all have a chance to win.
Yeah, it's a great way to see, what you guys are pulling off. Get them bragging rights and all that.
Oh, heck yeah. So, back to the TWAB. Not much mentioned as far as PvP damage values. They did have the Vidoc. Again, very skinny on PvP details. But there was a few standout information. There was a few things that if you were watching, you'd be pleasantly surprised for all y'all Titan naysayers. There's a clip about a few minutes into the Vidoc where there's playing PvP and a Titan is running in his super and he gets sniped with an aggressive frame sniper, pops shield, and downs the Titan in one shot. And that hasn't happened since D1. So,
huzzah!
There you go. But, I mean, they already mentioned that they're lowering the super damage resistance, which is, again, even as a Titan main, I agree that it does have a little over-the-top damage resistance and does need to be brought in line with everybody else. And by doing it this way and increasing the damage of special weapons like that, to make it where there's a counter now. Because if they don't get if they don't get the headshot and you get a body, you're still popping the shield at least.
Oh yeah.
So that's nice. What else was there? Shadow keeps looking like it's going to be great.
Oh yeah.
Regardless of PvP.
Changes. Digging the changes. The weapon designs are top tier too. I mean,
oh yeah, the stuff in the season pass looks great too. Like the battle pass or whatever they're calling it, the premier stuff or the advanced one, the one that you get for actually buying the DLC. That's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, it looks really good.
My Titan can finally have wings. I believe I can fly. That's actually perfect with the missile Titan with those wings. Sign me up.
I'm excited. It's gonna be a good time. So with that being said, we kind of went over some of the damage changes and trial potentially coming back in season, I think 10 or 9, whatever the next season is after Season of the Undying. So we can kind of go into tips for returning players. Shadowkeep's honestly not that far away. Most of you hopefully are either still playing or getting ready to come back. We kind of want to just kind of go over some tips there. If you want to take us away, sir.
Alrighty, we got some 4 tips that'll help you out just to kind of get things back in the swing of things, because everybody knows when you step away from a game like Destiny, you're going to have some hard times adjusting. Even just like I've been playing Borderlands 3 since it came out, and stepping back and forth between the two has been, the aim's kind of different, so it's tough going back and forth between them. But first step, shake the rust off. You know your aim's going to be off. jump into PvE first, get your bearings again, then go into quick play some Rumble, then step into comp. Don't go to comp first thing, because then you're just going to get your butt handed to you and you're going to be upset. Guilty as charged. I've done it multiple times when any games come out and I wanted to come back to Destiny and I play comp. Same thing. You have that issue, Fates?
Not so much with my aim. My aim stays pretty on point, I guess, so to speak. You know, it doesn't really change too much. What does change, and it's a problem, I think, unique for me to Destiny compared to other games. So when I play things like Call of Duty, this would be my big example. I can play super high sensitivity in Call of Duty. I can play like 16, 17, you know, whatever. Yeah. It just feels, I'm very twitchy. I like flicking and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I like to be able to, if somebody spawns behind me, because, you know, that game spawn points change all the time. It's ridiculous. It's very fast paced. I like to be able to whip around and get, you know, cover my butt.
I got my own 6 is basically what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like where I can come back to Destiny and the highest sensitivity I have is 10, and it feels like somebody dipped me in cement and I can't do anything, you know? It's
So you mean like how I feel when I play a hunter. Got it.
I mean,
gotta get my jab in every once in a while.
That's fair. That's fair. You know, you guys can just roam around the map and be super quick when we're supposed to be the mobile class. You know, it's fair.
Okay, I want to get a little off topic on that. I feel like when they say y'all are the mobile class, they mean the aerial space, because hunters can. I will admit, hunters can use the aerial space way better than a warlock and a titan can.
Yeah, I would agree to that.
That's my thought on it. Just because, I mean, the control y'all have as far as jumping, it makes the grenade, like using a breach grenade launcher, easy. Like,
yeah,
cakewalk.
I know we're getting off topic here, but I tend to use my aerial space probably a little too much. But
so you're like that hunter I sniped in the air that wanted to pump his golden gun around the corner and fly.
Yeah. I'm like a frog. I jump a lot. Yeah. I have a problem with Destiny sensitivity coming back more than I do so my aim. It takes a bit for me to get used to, but I do eventually, you know, get it back. I do play some. Honestly, I generally start PvE a little bit, you know, run a couple strikes or whatever, just kind of get a feel for the game. You know,
right.
Can't die to. I mean, you can die to ads, but
it's a little more difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, second tip: if you're not improving, change your class. Go and swap. Like for me, if I'm on my Titan, if I don't feel like I've been progressing as far as like my KD still sitting around the same spot, I feel like I'm making stupid mistakes, I jump to a class that I'm not familiar with as much. Lately it's been Warlock, surprisingly. Just because for me, since Warlock plays almost the polar opposite of Titan, it really highlights your mistakes and the things you do right. I've noticed that a lot, that your mistakes get punished a lot more on a class that you're not as familiar with, just because, again, it's something that you're not familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, they do play different. I'm hard pressed. It's honestly, it's probably a reason I don't switch. You know, if I'm doing bad on my hunter, I feel like when I get like on a roll with my hunter, even if I'm not playing well, like if I'm in that zone, it's hard to take me out of it. So I will still try to do hunter things on like my warlock or my titan. You know, like
there goes
my
chip grenade. Oh wait, that's not on the. Oh damn.
Well, no, not even that, but like, you know, like you said, hunters in our vertical space. I don't have that. I mean, like, yeah, you guys can use vertical space, but I think we're a bit better.
Yeah.
at it, and I will still try.
It's like
and
with a
use
hunter,
my-
you jump and you try to use that vertical space, and you're expecting to come down at a certain point. But if you're on
Yeah.
your warlock, you float, and it's
Yeah,
like
just
I'm
float there.
taking.
Just like, oh, just, ooh.
I was watching Legendary playing comp before this, and that happened to him. He was meant to be playing. He thought, I guess because he'd been playing Warlock the whole time. I don't think he had meant to swap, like he had swapped or anything. But he jumped, and he was like, "I didn't mean to jump," and right as he gets domed. So it was pretty great.
Oh yeah, it's interesting, man.
I guess when I say that it highlights your mistakes, it highlights your mistakes as far as gunplay goes.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Not being in the right spot for the right gun type, which leads to our next tip: positioning. When you're using your guns, know what you're using and what ranges it's good at, and also what is also in that range. Because perfect example, and we'll talk about it more here as we end sidearms. I had a sidearm. I thought it was awesome. I looked at it, good roll stats, good perks, took it to PvP, and it turned into just a nightmare. But the more I used it, I got better at it, and I noticed the range that it was good in, and I started noticing what I was dying to. And that helped. Like if I knew I was going to be facing shotguns, I was able to adjust accordingly. Have my shots ready a little bit, aimed a little higher, things like that. Know what's in that range. Positioning is going to be your biggest thing in comp. If you're playing solo and you're by yourself, you're a sitting duck. If you're playing with a group, know where your group's at. Fates, I believe you had a story about positioning that worked really well.
So I had a nice little play a couple days ago. We were playing, me and Legendary were playing, and it was on, I think, Javelin 4 is what it's called. They were in that back room. It was Clash, so no flags or anything like that. We basically have them trapped back there. Peeking the door is not working too well. I mean, you can pick them if you're team shotting, but still, usually it's going to end in a trade of some sort. So what I did, he's like, "Oh, don't worry, don't go through the door. They've got it. They're watching it." So I went through the little tunnel on the right and wrapped around. Took 2 dudes with the bite of the fox, and then the other 2 got looted, and no more spawn point there. Positioning. I mean, not only where you are and what your weapons can do, but where even with that, we're playing together, and me and Legendary play together. There's still 2 randos there, so knowing where everybody is kind of helpful. So if they're positioned like that and they're fighting like that, it's going back and forth. If you can pull off a flank like that, that's 4 points right there. I mean, right now until comp switches, but I mean, still, that's 4. That that increases the lead, keeps them a little bit out of reach.
Right. The thing that I like about your story is that that's all information, like, because you know your positioning, but it's also knowing the position of your teammates, which adds to your game sense. Game sense is, we're going to use that term a lot as we talk Crucible stuff, because it's the sum of your input that you're seeing. Like, you're seeing people get shot over off to the side, what you're hearing from your teammates. That heavy's out on the field. If you die and you see the up at the top of the map, what supers the other team has. So all of that information,
all together,
keeping it together and being able to actually do something with it is your game sense, and that's just. It's a very abstract thing, but
it's hard to
explain.
It's hard to, yeah.
But when you start thinking about it, you do it without even realizing it. It's like it's a sixth sense to you. You when you're playing in the game, you're taking all that information and you're saying, "Okay, this is what I'm going to do with it." Yeah. So it's very abstract, but it's a very something important to beef up. Be sure to pay attention to your stuff. One thing that helped me build it when I was first really getting into Crucible, and I'm playing, if it was D1, so that was back with Trials when you died, you couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Grabbing the phone and being on the phone while you're waiting. You could be watching the map and giving your teammates info. You could be, if you were recording at the time, go back to your death and watch what happened. There's all different kinds of stuff that you could be doing to improve. Again, it sounds really hardcore that, oh, why is it such a big deal that you got your phone? It just all depends on what you're wanting to do to accomplish. One of our goals is get better. One of the ideas that we came up with the name for this podcast is we believe that a seventh column is one of the hardest things to get in the game, just because the stars have to align just right. You have to get the other team in the right spawns, but then you have to be able to pull it off, and that's a big thing.
Yeah, definitely. I got my first D2. We ran out of medals.
I have yet to get one, so my hat's off to you on that one, man. I feel like the big takeaway that we want to give y'all tip-wise is the most important one. Don't get discouraged. If you're coming back and you got all the other steps done and you step into comp and you get your teeth kicked, don't get discouraged. If you have to take a break and step away from there to be ready for the next match, do it. I know with me, I'm a little hothead. If I have a really bad match that I just messed up all over the place, instead of going into the next match angry with a chip on my shoulder, I'll say, all right, I'll be back in a second. If I'm streaming, go talk to my wife, go grab a drink, go do something to not have the controller in my hand, come back fresh, ready to go. Fates, what's your tip for when you get discouraged? Your audio went out again, man. There we go. I think I heard it. Maybe.
I am a bit of a rager from time to time. I get angry. I used to throw controllers back when I used to play World at War, Call of Duty. I do not walk away. I will get angry over things, and you can hear it on stream or whatever.
Little F-bombs here and there.
Yeah. I handle them differently though, so I'm gonna break out a little bit of story time. Things. I mean, it's not even just my own play that'll make me annoyed. It'll be play, from other teammates who, I don't understand why they don't have either the IQ or the ability to do what they need to do. So we're playing, and you have to remember, guys, I'm decently ranked in Fable. So, people should have, I expect a certain, I don't know.
Degree of competence.
Yeah. So we're playing the one map, and it's survival. Previously, we had played these guys the match before. We lost because we ended up being down a guy. One of our randos left after he took 2 Jotuns to the face in 2 separate rounds.
That's the little toaster that could.
Yeah, and so we were down, and we get back. We're playing them. We're under the impression of let's just smack these kids. Let's get them. Let's show them, because they were emoting and all this. And it's like the 3rd round. It's tied 1-1, and we, or no, I'm sorry. Or yeah, no, it was 1-1, and we we get them down to 0 lives and all that good stuff. And me and Legendary die, and it's these 2 guys left, and the one guy has heavy. They beat the one Titan, and the last guy on the other team is a hunter. So they beat the Titan with an arc staff, and I guess he wasted heavy. I don't know exactly what happened to it, because he didn't have any. So he wasted it.
We assume.
So the guy with the arc staff chased the other hunter. I guess his super ran out before he could get him. And the way it happened was the other team's hunter popped his spectral blades and deletes that hunter. He's gone. So it's 1-1, no lives. And the next hunter, who has the ability to go invisible, goes invisible and runs towards the center where the point is. Now, obviously, you need the point to win if it's overtime. But you do not run towards a spectral blade. Especially if you have no way to counter the spectral blade. He ran right at him and just died. Invisible, just died. And that was the end of that round. I mean, we ended up winning, which is good. But at the same time, we could have won 4-1 instead of 4-2. We played an extra round. Had we not been like so hell-bent on beating these kids, I mean, that we could have lost that game, easily. They could have come back, popped supers, controlled heavy, whatever. Things like that matter. You want to make sure you're making the right decisions. But I mean, I get triggered. I tend to try and make a joke out of it and just move on. Match is over, I'll be like, oh, legendary, you got to carry me a bit harder or whatever, bunch of jokes. And I just try and move past it. I don't like to leave. I just want to push myself to play better.
I guess what the point that we're trying to get on is that know how you handle it. Fates knows that he can push through it. He can brush it off. I know that I have a hard time letting it go, so I need to step away. Whichever one it is, there's no right or wrong answer on this one. I'm pretty sure Fates and I can agree on this, that there's no right or wrong. Like, whichever one helps you, go for it. There's no shame in either one. You're wanting to get better, whatever works. To wrap us out, we're going to have a little bit of a gun talk. We keep bringing up sidearms over and over and over again because they are so infuriating. Fates, what's your sidearm for pick?
I haven't used one since Warmind, but back then it was the Last Dance. It was a 3-burst. Still is. I mean, you can still get a random drop in game. But I used to rock that and my Vigilant Swing a lot in D1 or D2. I'm sorry, vanilla, all the way up through until the meta became Gravitron, Anti-Open, all that kind of stuff. That was my gun. I liked it. You didn't really have to worry about shotguns or fusions too much until somebody pulled heavy, and it just, I don't know. It was clean. It worked really close quarters. I could start shooting somebody potentially.
I hear you. With me, lately I've been using the Loadsome sidearm from Reckoning. I have 3 different rolls on it. The 2 that I like to talk about, I have one that's Outlaw Kill Clip, which is the one I did the YouTube video on, and I started out good. I was like, this is going to be a great video. I was doing it like more informationally, like, look at this gun, here's the stats, let's see what it does, everything's great. And then I just kept dying over and over and over, and like with each little bullet fired from the little pew-pew, I just got sadder and sadder. So when it came time to edit this thing, I just like, we're gonna go full on meme with it. Like, I'm just gonna turn this thing into a comedy show, and it was pretty funny. Like, I talk about it a lot because it was one of the most fun videos I've ever had editing, even though it was probably one of the worst times I had playing the game itself. So after playing those few matches, I got where I could be. I knew the range that it was good, and I got my step in with it, and then it got better. So I was like, all right, well, let's try the second roll that I have. And I have one that's got Outlaw Swashbuckler. And with that roll, I decided to go with some synergy, and I went ahead and swapped out. I was using, I think I was using a Natus Wards at that time. I swapped it for the Synthoceps, and when you get the melee kill with it, you end up getting the instant 5 stack of Swashbuckler, and you're able to it was like 3 or 4 tap the body. Like, you didn't even have to get headshots. And with a sidearm, you can pull that. Those things fire almost as fast as you pull the trigger, regardless of the archetype, which is nice.
That's nice.
The big thing with those, it requires more game knowledge, I guess, than most other guns. Just because you have to know what else is going to be in your effective range. So what I've noticed with, at least as far as the lonesome goes, the effective range is like 13 meters or less. So if you're in the range that a chaperone shot will kill, that's the range that sidearm is good. Anything outside of that, the damage fall off is too much to actually be worthwhile using. Again, just what I've noticed. Don't quote me on numbers because I am no Fallout place. But the guns itself, they're viable. You just really have to adjust your playstyle and be hyper aware of where you're at, as far as how they work and whatnot. Fates, if you were going to fix the sidearms, what would you do?
Real quick before I get there, just want to highlight one thing you said to end that kind of conversation. Like he said, synergy. You got to find things that work together for things like, if you want to use sidearms, find things that work together well with, just my little 2 cents at the end there.
I mean, even then you were talking about it, that did remind me that part of that reason why that video went so bad is because I wanted to focus on using stuff that I got from the Reckoning, and I had no long range. I was using a sidearm and a shotgun, so that's kind of my fault too.
Yeah, I mean, synergy, you want to be able to cover, like he said, you want to cover different ranges and stuff, and make sure, you got something that kind of feeds into using that sidearm or whatever, you're using, that scout rifle or, whatever. Things I would change. I'd probably say they need a little bit of a damage buff. Nothing too crazy, but maybe a little something. I mean, they occupy a very full, range, you've got pretty much everything. You got shotguns, you got fusions, you've got like the recluse, things like that, to worry about. Maybe they could introduce some sort of, perks that are exclusive to sidearms, something that kind of rewards using that kind of, because they are, like you said, a bit more high floor kind of guns, you know what I mean?
The skill floor for them is really high.
Yeah, so I mean, something that kind of rewards that. I don't know off the top of my head.
The whole idea of what they introduced the sidearms, if I remember right, was something that you could swap to, and it was going to be constantly loaded. I think that was something that they did in D1.
It sounds right. I vaguely remember something like that.
Either it was constantly loaded or it already had. You always spawned with bullets. I remember that. Maybe something like kind of like with Recluse, that you can get a kill with anything and swap to it, and you have a damage buff. Get a kill with your primary, and when you swap to your sidearm, you have a damage buff or something.
Yeah.
To give it numbers, ideally, if you wanted to give it damage buff, I would say make it like Malfeasance, where 5 shots to the body is a guaranteed kill, long as it's within a certain range. So if you were in its effective range, 5 shots to the body should be a kill, and that would make it where 4 shots to the head, I believe, would be a kill. So I mean, it would adjust the way, because it would make it adjust from, instead of being very aggressive and trying to get the headshot with a sidearm, you're like, if I can get 5 to the body, that would be ideal, still a decently ideal TTK. So, I mean, if you're playing smart and using aerial space and whatnot, you'll be able to stay out of range of the shotgun. You'd be able to dodge around the fusion shot, slide under it. There's all kinds of stuff that you could do with that time and still be able to get those shots off. I feel like that would be a really nice change. But
yeah, I would agree with that. That's that would be a good change. I would like that a lot. As somebody who used to main sidearms a lot, I really loved my Last Dance. It was just a very, I don't know.
It was very solid.
A very smooth gun.
I used it a little bit. Around that time, I was sticking to my guns and using a does not compute scout rifle in the kinetic. And in the secondary, I was using a Martyr's Make auto. And between those two guns, I have upwards of 500 kills. And then I swap. If I wasn't using those two, I would swap to the Trials auto, which I can't remember the name right now.
Oh God, I don't remember.
It was
the
one of
name.
the first ones. It was really good though. It was the same archetype as Martyr's Make, and the perks were literally the same, just in different trees.
Yeah.
So, um, I would just swap with that out and use the Unification 7 Slug Shot. And then when Chaperone came back, it was Chaperone and the Martyr's Make. Or the Trust. I use Trust a lot.
Oh yeah, I did. I used that one a good deal. It's basically almost how I got my Lunas, that the service revolver. So if you don't have that, my little recommendation would be either one of those two is wonderful, especially if you're on console.
In typical 7th column radio fashion, I disagree with Fates. I hated Trust. I used Malfeasance. It just felt nicer, even though it's the same archetype. Malfeasance felt better to me. Like it was really odd.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've used both the service revolver and the Trust, and I know they're both very popular PvP weapons. They feel
Your audio went out, but
different. They both feel very different. Even though they're both 180s, I felt like my service revolver had a little bit more, like 100% the recoil's different. But it, I don't know. I liked the overall feel to it, where like my Trust was, I don't know. It was definitely more stable. It was more comparable to like my Luna.
yeah. With the service revolver, a lot of people liked it because it's like a poor man's Luna's Howl. Like if you could not get to Luna's Howl, but you got the right perks on it, you could get the same kill distance that you'd get on Luna's Howl, which has stupid range on it. By the way, I use mine occasionally. I prefer, if I'm gonna get like sweaty, Revoke or Recluse is what I go. If I don't use Recluse, I use. If I'm that one, that's when I know I'm gonna like stay back. I actually go full long range and use my Calicia Nobilis high impact scout rifle. Use that thing and save my super for my close range. Like as soon as I get my super, I don't use it the entire. There's times I don't even use it the entire match because I stay back. But those matches end up being really high KDs matches because I don't die. I don't get it. I don't get in the fight. I just end them from far away.
Yeah,
but it's all on preference.
Definitely stick to what's comfortable.
Stick to what's comfortable. That's been our mantra for these past few episodes. That's going to do it for us. Sorry if it seems a little bit rushed, but as I said, this is the second recording, so we are. Hopefully, we're done having bugs.
Yeah. We got them out early. I hope that's, that.
Hopefully we don't have to do it. Well, that's going to be it for us. I'm Timbercat. If you want to catch me on Twitch, you can catch me at twitch.tv/Timbercat. Fates, where they'll be able to find you at.
You can find me at twitch.tv/Fates Pyro, Fates_Pyro. I lie. You find me there, Fates Pyro on Twitter.
Catch us on Twitter too at 7th Column Radio. Join the Discord. The link will be down below. If you're enjoying the podcast, a like would be greatly appreciated. Be sure to check the subscribe button and the bell so that way you get notified when we upload. That's going to be it for us, and we'll catch y'all in the next one. See ya.